Hey there, I'm RJ from Fratello and today I'm looking at this brand new Omega Speedmaster Pilot Flight Qualified watch. A few months ago already we published about this watch on Fratello, but that watch was a little bit different. Different color in the subdial, and on the back it had the squadron patch for pilots. So that watch was only available to US Air Force pilots or US pilots in general. But this time, as of December 10th, this watch will be available for the public. This watch is very similar to the Speedmaster 57. That watch has a hand-wound movement and this one has an automatic movement, a caliber 9900. The diameter of this watch is 40.85 millimeter, the height is 14.65 millimeter and the lug-to-lug is 49.60 millimeter. And it has a water resistance of 100 meters or 10 bar. Aside from the dimensions of this watch that are very similar to the Speedmaster 57, the dial looks totally different because it's two registers, but the dial is in black, it has this grain finish, and then there are a lot of colors to be found on this dial and on the hands. For example, there's an orange minute counter at 3 o'clock, there's a yellow hand for the running seconds, and there's an orange tip in the shape of an airplane for the chronograph seconds hand. The hour markers are luminova blocks or super luminova blocks, and there's a touch of orange there as well. The subdial on 9 o'clock looks like the target or sight statics from an airplane cockpit. And here's the difference with the Speedmaster Pilot for the US pilots. The color of the subdial on the left is now blue, and for the pilot it was gray. At 6 o'clock you see the date aperture, so it's a very useful Speedmaster for everyday use. It has the sapphire crystal, it has a date, it has an automatic movement and funky colors. The difference between this purpose watch and the Speedmaster 57 collection, for example, or the Dark Side of the Moon, is that this watch does not have a display back, so you can't view the beautiful movement. But you have to believe it, it's a nice decorated movement with arabesque Geneva waves, and it just looks great. But I think for a purpose watch it's nice to have a solid stainless steel case back. The watch is fully brushed, there's not a polished part, so everything is in steel. The bracelet is a flat link bracelet, brushed clasp with release buttons, also brushed. So it looks like a flat link bracelet that you could also see at Ed White or the new First Omega in Space. It also has extension clasp, an easy adjustment system. So with the push of a button you can extend the clasp with 2.3 millimeters to give you that extra bit of space. The bezel is made of aluminum, the side is also brushed, and the bezel inlay is matte. So it's a very toolish looking watch. It's really a purpose watch, so to speak. And I think the colors are very useful if you're in a cockpit or dream to be in a cockpit. I think it's very interesting to see those colors used for the different hands, so we'll see exactly and right away which is doing what on the dial. The watch with the steel bracelet weighs approximately 145 grams, so it's not a super light watch, but it's also very wearable and quite comfortable on the wrist. The movement used inside is the Omega Caliber 9900. It's not a new movement, the movement has been there for quite a while. It's an evolution based on the Caliber 9300 that was used, for example, in the Omega Dark Side of the Moon collection. The 9900 is of course master chronometer certified. It is anti-magnetic up to 15,000 Gauss and it has a power reserve of 60 hours. The nice thing about Caliber 9900 is that you can set the hours independently. So it doesn't have a quick set date, but with this independent hour setting you can still move the date rather quickly. If you start the chronograph, after 1 minute the minute hand will increase, of course, and below the minute hand there is the hour counter. So in this display you have a minute and an hour counter, and if you play it smart you can also use that as a second time zone. One of the first things that came to mind when looking at this watch is the similarity to the Flight Masters. So in 1969 Omega introduced the Flight Master. I have two of them here. This watch was designed for pilots. It's a big watch. It has 3 crowns, 2 buttons. It uses a lot of colors. In this case we have the one with the yellow hand and one with the orange hand. And those colors reminded me of the new one, the Speedmaster Pilot that we have here. But if you put them side by side, you can see it's a very different watch. I could have imagined that Omega wanted to reintroduce this as a new Flightmaster, but luckily they didn't, because the watch really is a Speedmaster. There's different functionality, and I think the case design, the bulky cases of the Flightmaster, is something really unique and very different, and it would not have made sense. So I'm happy that Omega calls this a Speedmaster, Speedmaster Pilot, and below the Speedmaster wording on the dial, you will find the wording Flight Qualified. This watch has a retail price of $9,500 US, excluding VAT, or 10,500 euros, including VAT. The watch is delivered in a special pouch and it comes with a NATO strap. We don't have it here, we only got it on this beautiful stainless steel bracelet, but it comes with a NATO strap, so you can easily swap the strap for a bracelet and vice versa. 2024 was quite an interesting year for Speedmaster collectors and enthusiasts. In January of this year, they introduced the new Apollo 8 with the rocket hand. A few months later, they came with the Speedmaster Professional with the white dial, followed by Speedmasters in two-tone, one in steel with rose gold and one in steel with yellow gold. Then a few weeks ago, Omega introduced the first Omega in space with the bluish dial, and now in December, it's the Speedmaster Pilot Flight Qualified watch. Quite amazing. They're very different watches altogether, but I think with this Pilot, they did an excellent job finishing the year in a nice way. We would be very interested to learn what you think about this watch, this new straight lug Speedmaster. But we would also like to know which Speedmaster of 2024 is your favorite. Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe to our channel.